Alright, today we are going to talk about operations with polynomials. So we're going to add, subtract, multiply, divide, and simplify them. So the only really kind of definition we have here is the degree of a polynomial. So the degree of a polynomial is the degree of the monomial with the greatest degree. So monomial is the one piece of terms that are all multiplied together. No addition or subtraction signs in there. So we'll look at that in a minute here. So first thing is, if you were not in class or you missed this chunk, I want you to fill this out right now. So you can pause it and fill that out, and I'm going to move on to the next ones there. Okay, so applying some of these. So first one, we're simplifying expressions. So when we have the same base like this, the a's, we're going to add those exponents. So on here, I would have, if I do a -3 plus a 2, that gives me -1. And then I have the b that can't really combine with anybody, and that c that can't combine with anybody. So far I used that first rule. Now we also, it's not simplified if we have negative exponents. So whenever you see a negative exponent, you remember that it has to move. So if it's on the top, it moves to the bottom. If it's on the bottom, it moves to the top. So these are going to move, and this one's going to stay where it's at. So I'm leaving the b on the top, and then the a and the c are both moving down and becoming positive when they move. And then when you have a power of 1, we don't actually need to write that because taking anything to the first power is just itself. So this would be the simplified version of that. Okay, on part B, we have a few different things happening. So on here, the first thing is this power needs to go out to each of these on here. Now, right here, this is going to really become a 3 squared. Here, a power raised to a power, we multiply those exponents, so this becomes a to the 6th. And then on the bottom, we have the 4 to the 2nd power, so I'm going to multiply those, so that becomes b to the 8th. And then I can simplify that a little bit more by actually doing the 3 squared, which is 9. So that would be my simplified version of that. Okay, next example. Oops. So it says determine whether each is a polynomial. If it is a polynomial, then state the degree of that polynomial. So this first one, since we have this square root in here, that makes this not a polynomial. So it has to have whole number exponents. It can't have square roots. It can't have negative exponents on there. So those would be things that would make it not a polynomial. If we look at the second one, this one is a polynomial on here. So the degree is the degree of the highest monomial. So I have two monomials here. This chunk right here, I think about dividing them into pieces, and this is the second monomial on there. So this one, the highest power, the exponent is 5 on here, so this is a 5th degree monomial. This one right here, I'm adding the exponents on, adding the exponents on the variables. So here I have 7 and 2, so this is a 9th degree. So the degree of the whole polynomial is whichever one is the highest. So this whole polynomial is 9th degree. It's whichever the highest degree is of each of the monomials that are in there. All right, a couple more. So here we are simplifying the expression. We've looked at these before. You've looked at these on your warm-ups actually. So here, I am just subtracting these. So when you're adding, it's really just combining like terms. When you're subtracting, you have to kind of switch the sign of everything that's behind here. So what I usually always do is rewrite them. I leave the first one the same, and then I switch the sign of everything that's behind it. And now we can just combine like terms. So I have a 4x squared and a 2x squared. I have a -9x and a 5x. So that's going to be -4x. And then I have a positive 3 and a positive 6, so that's plus 9. So if I looked at this and it asked me what the degree was, just to practice that again, you can see this one is degree 2, this is degree 1, and this is degree 0. So the highest degree in there is the 2, so this would be second degree if it asked us for that. Okay, and part B, we are multiplying. So there's a couple different ways you can do this. You can distribute this in both parts like that, or you can set up a box. I really like to set up the box because I feel like it makes things much more organized. So since this has 3 terms, I'm putting 3 boxes on one side, and this has 2. So now I'm going to multiply into each of these boxes. So a squared times a is a cubed. 3a times a, 3a squared. And now I'm going to write this out combining any like terms I have. So my highest power in here is the a cubed. Then these are my a squared terms. So I have 5a squared. Here's my a terms. And all by itself back here. So this is what that would end up being if I multiply those together. Alright, so you have the last 2 to try on your own. And I gotta end you with a joke. So, what is a mummy's favorite food? Wraps. Alright, I hope you have a wonderful day and make sure you're kind to someone today.